party politically. Joining me now, House Republican Study Committee Chair Jim Banks and Mollie Hemingway, Editor-in-Chief at The Federalist and a Fox News contributor. Congressman Banks, which argument do you favor? That we shouldn't have a blank check going over there to Ukraine, or apparently is no end to the spending?
Well, Leader McCarthy is exactly right. He's stating the obvious. No more blank checks around the world to solve problems overseas when America is on its knees at home. We can't be the leader around the world when we have such big issues to solve in America. We need to secure the border, address inflation, address crime, deal with gas prices first before we can help other countries. And Leader McCarthy, he said it. All of Washington, the mainstream left-wing media, the liberals in Congress, they all went bananas when he said it. After we've already sent $65 billion to Ukraine.
Do we know where that money has really gone?
There's been very little accountability for it. Now Democrats are screaming and saying, well, if McCarthy says that, we know he's going to be Speaker of the House. We're going to pass another $50 billion in the lame duck. It's just absurd. It's insanity.
Mollie, this is really where the Republicans always screwed up. They didn't understand this after 2006 when we lost the House and the Senate, the war in Iraq. Then we lost the presidency in 2008, again in 2012. And apparently they just want to go back to that. The old establishment dinosaur is still clinging to power.
You are seeing this divide in the Republican Party where there are some people who are still trying to go back to an approach to foreign policy that has been politically toxic, as you note. Everyone supports Ukraine. Everybody wants them to do well. Everyone also understands that this can't be another situation like we've had in the past where you have an endless war without a good strategy for victory, without even a defined strategy for victory. And so you're seeing this interesting difference. I think likely to be Speaker McCarthy understands where the party is and understands about all the other things that are very important for the Republicans to accomplish.
We had Jeb Bush over on CNN tonight. He popped up. We had Mike Pence was asked about this issue yesterday. Watch.
Kevin McCarthy, who wants to become the next Speaker of the House, had said, if Republicans take the gavel, that America will no longer be a blank check for the war in Ukraine. Do you take issue with that?
You know, the United States throughout our history has understood that we need to be the leader of the free world. And that includes being the arsenal of democracy. We need to continue to support the people of Ukraine as they fight for their defense.
Congressman, I feel like I'm in a time warp. The arsenal of democracy. First of all, our munitions are horribly depleted. We can't seem to recruit enough people for our army. We're in big trouble militarily. Woke, etc. We're funding woke programs for DEI and Lord knows what else.
That's right. The Heritage Foundation released a military report this week that showed the weaknesses in our military are the greatest in my lifetime. So to lead through peace, through strength, to rebuild the military, to have a strong military that deters our adversaries is the opposite of what we're getting with Joe Biden and those who want to deplete our Javelin missile reserves, other missile reserves that we keep in stockpiles that we've given up to Ukraine instead. So that's the reality of this moment that we're in today. We can't put America first by giving blank checks to those around the world.
Well, they're not a member of NATO. They're not a NATO member.
It's also just true that our military should not be viewing itself as primarily about exporting democracy. It is very important. We do want free countries to do well, but we actually should be laser focused on the national interest. What is in our interest? We have many problems in the world. We have to really focus on the growing threat of China, for instance. And Americans do not mind supporting Ukraine, but they have also shown statistically that they would like Europe to do more. This is a European war, and we haven't seen a lot coming from Europe. And so it is important, you know, and going forward to really understand where the people are and...
Well, where the threat is. We've been told by our national security agencies, by the CIA, and by the Pentagon that China is our biggest threat. And we are completely focused on Eastern Europe.
And that costs a lot of money, and it takes a lot of resources.
Congressman, speaking of the woke agenda in the military, the Pentagon is going to provide travel funds and support for troops and their dependents who seek abortions but are based in states where they are now illegal. According to a new department policy released on Thursday, When are Republicans going to turn the spigot off on this stuff, Congressman? I mean, I'm so tired of the Republicans coming on this show and saying, oh, we can't do anything until we have the presidency. Bull. You could shut this down tomorrow if you wanted to.
Yeah, this is something that is entirely solvable by a Republican majority. I serve on the Armed Services Committee. We have to stop this garbage. And the focus of the Biden administration on combating climate issues and the new national defense strategy versus tackling China and Russia and our greater threats is what you get with them on their watch. It's the opposite of what you're going to get with the Republican majority. I'm looking at where I can fit in to be a part of the Republican majority leadership and do my part to make sure that we keep the commitments that we're making on the campaign.
All right, we're going to be following those races and committee chairmanships, right, Molly? Because that's where all the dirty deeds get done. All right, Congressman and Molly, great to see you both. Thank you. Now, get your kid